All right. Hello, Grand Rising, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake up call. So, as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, now when I tell you all that I literally got like 2 hours of sleep because I was on a TikTok live panel all night, and when I tell you the hate for Carmelo Anthony is so real, but we're gonna get into it.
Karmelo gon' be just fine. God gon' see about this in his own time. Hold your head high, don't let him steal your light. Karmelo gon' be just fine tonight. Peace be still, peace be still. That's just how we feel. Peace be still, peace be still. Keep your faith for real. Storm clouds hanging, people talking every day. Everybody got opinions, got something to say. But we praying for the truth, wherever it may lead. Praying for the family and everybody's needs. Know we tapped in, we watching every move. Trying to stay together while the world keep choosing sides to prove somebody hurting, somebody crying. That's the truth. So we asking God for wisdom while we're searching for the proof. Karmelo gon' be just fine. God gon' see about this in his own time. Hold your head high, don't let him steal your life. Karmelo gon' be just fine tonight. Peace be still, peace be still. That's just how we feel. Peace be still, peace be still. Keep your faith for real. Stay strong, little bro, don't give up the fight. The Most High still working in the dark and in the light. Family standing with you, love standing too. Keep your faith in the storm till you make it through. When the pressure gets heavy and the nights get long, remember every trial ain't where you belong. Keep your eyes on them all, keep your heart on God. One step at a time, keep moving through it all. We ain't giving up, we ain't backing down. Love gonna lift us when we're feeling on the ground. Hands to the heavens, prayers in the sky. Trusting in the truth as the days go by. Karmelo gon' be just fine. God gon' see about this in his own time. Family coming, faith coming too. The strength of the Most High gonna carry you. Peace be still, peace be still. That's just how we feel. Peace be still, peace be still. Keep your faith for real. Karmelo, stay strong. Keep holding on.
All right. So, hello, everyone. Now, before we get started, let's see who's in here. Okay, Love Christy, Simply Sandra, Angie is here, Nirvana, Bronze Flat Power God is in the virtual building. Okay, Desmond, I see you, beloved Emperor Rex, True Blessings, One Vibe. All right, Tanya is here, Blessed Up. Okay, with that all being said, hey, Love Christy. All right, Diane, I see you, beloved. Just Anticipate, Lady Painter. Okay, so shout out to all of my loyal royals. Adwell L, I see you, beloved. Okay, shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. Let's get ready to get it started. I see you, Star and Daughter of Zion. Okay, so before we get started, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. Chili Willie from Philly is here. All right, let's get it started.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she also sells beard oil. Okay, so let's get into it. You all, when I tell you I am so exhausted, and I don't mean because of lack of sleep, but because of the hate. Okay, it is so rampant. Now listen, this is how you know that these racist people, the MAGA-types is what I like to call them, they don't care anything about the truth. They don't care anything about facts. They just want revenge, and they don't care how they get it. Now, I was listening to a lot of the BS that they were spewing in the panel discussion that I was in last night. And these people are so hateful. But there's also a man, and that's him in the thumbnail. Okay, I believe that he's now deleted his account, but that's not going to save him. This dude has offered money for someone to bring harm to Karmelo. Now, I don't know if he knows that or not, but that's a whole felony. Okay. The first thing I want to address is Jeff Metcalf. So yesterday we listened to, or last night we listened to the video where he was interviewed on Fox again. Now I find it interesting that Metcalf is going around doing all of these press runs. He did that whole 3.5-hour rant where he was disparaging Black people and also Carmelo Anthony. But why is he still going around doing press runs when the trial is over? Okay. Karmelo was found guilty and has already been sentenced. Why is he still doing all of this? Well, I'm so glad you asked. You see, Jeff Metcalf is still going around talking about this, as are the other supporters of Austin. Okay, you would think that they would be somewhere celebrating because they got what they wanted, but that's not enough for them. You see, now they're trying to do damage control. Now they're very concerned because they know that there's high-profile attorneys on the team. As soon as those attorneys were announced, what did Jeff Metcalf do? He went on Fox News because he wants to continue to control the narrative. But we're not going to let him, because we're going to keep digging, and we're going to keep digging until we get to the truth. And more information is coming out every day. Now, Jeff Metcalf wants us to think that he never wanted this to be about race and about politics. But we know that it was always about that as soon as it happened. And the first person who came out and made it about race was none other than the wanton supremacist Jake Lake. This is the same person who was arrested in Texas for talking about doing something to Karmelo, basically taking his life. But hold on. Here's what he said when he got out of court, in case you missed it.
Jake Lang walked out of jail this morning speaking with one of our photographers about that terroristic threat charge and his ban from the state of Texas. Freedom! Far-right influencer and pardoned January 6th rioter Jake Lang walking out of Collin County Jail Tuesday after multiple arrests this month related to the Carmelo Anthony trial.
Why am I the one being mistreated by the justice system?
Lang's most recent charge, felony terroristic threat. According to an arrest warrant affidavit obtained by Fox 4, Lang was identified on video outside Anthony's trial, saying he'd kill Carmelo Anthony with a shot to the head. Lang was charged by the Texas Department of Public Safety. It was working with the Texas Fusion Center, proactively monitoring threats seen on social media related to the trial.
The judicial tyrants have gone drunk with power.
This wasn't a, hey, if I see you outside, we can tangle. It was I'm going to take a headshot and end it right there. And then he, according to the PC affidavit, doubled down.
Criminal defense attorney and former Collin County prosecutor Rebecca Pearlstein is not connected to this case. A judge reduced Lang's $1 million bond to $250,000. That initial $1 million bond is higher than some people receive for a murder charge, but Pearlstein says Lang's past likely plays a role.
He had been told to stay away from the Collin County courthouse.
On June 2nd, Lang was charged with criminal trespassing after admitting to climbing a fence to the site of the fatal stabbing of Austin Metcalf. Conditions of Lang's bond prohibited him from going within 200 feet of the Collin County courthouse for 30 days. But 2 days later, he was back.
He hadn't been deterred by being told to stay away or to back off.
Fox 4 witnessed people on both sides of protests at Anthony's trial making confrontational and sometimes violent statements.
You had people gathering outside the courthouse every day. You had a lot of people who were, very emotionally charged.
For now, Lang is banned from the state of Texas unless appearing in court or meeting with his attorney.
But I'm not able to stay in Texas right now. I have 24 hours to vacate the most free and most conservative and most patriotic state in the country. So I have to get out of here.
If convicted on that terroristic threat charge, Lang faces up to 10 years in prison. He's also facing a felony charge in Minnesota for allegedly destroying an anti-ICE sculpture on the Capitol grounds. Remember, he served 4 years in prison for his role in the Capitol riots, but was released after a pardon by President Trump. Yeah, Jake.
You okay? Pardoned by Trump. Now, Jerron says, I saw a short clip of a white guy claiming this country will never be the same because black people defend black criminals and give them money. That's what they do not like, or they do not like black people. Here's the thing. Let me say this. I really don't think that we should care or concern ourselves with these lying devils, these people full of hypocrisy, these people who hate the people who look like us, because the thing of it is, who are they to talk about whom we give our money to? We've seen them give money to people like Derek Chauvin, George Zimmerman. I mean, the list goes on and on. Kyle Rittenhouse. Okay, they give money to murderers. Karmelo Anthony was defending himself, okay? And we're not sitting here saying that we condone violence or we're going to pay for people who are doing nefarious things. You know how they sound ridiculous? Because there are gangbangers in our communities. There are people who sell illegal substances in our communities. There's the same in theirs, too. I want you to pay attention. They just don't publicize it all over the news. Who do you think is selling the METH? Okay, they are. All right, the fentanyl and opioids and all of that, but they don't talk about it. I mean, they have gangs on college campuses, but they'll never tell you that. But you can do the research. But here's the thing. They want to constantly demonize and vilify us. Okay, so if we were just trying to give money to killers, wouldn't we give it to the thugs out there in the streets who are committing murders on a regular? No, we don't. But when we see one of our people who we think got an injustice, we are absolutely going to help them. Okay? At the end of the day, didn't we learn it from them? They've been donating money to killers and thugs, okay, in their community for years. So now they're mad because we're donating money to people we believe in that we believe in their innocence. You see, what they're trying to do is they're trying to shame us, trying to make us feel guilty for having concern and care. They've been doing this since the very beginning. You see, they're the ones who put out the lie that Karmelo's family took the money, the $600,000+ and spent it on a house and a car. You know why they told that lie? They said that so that we would be discouraged and not want to donate to them or anyone else that gets in this predicament. So we'll be sitting here thinking, oh, they're just wasting our money. They're just going out balling. That's such a stupid, idiotic stereotype. And of course, we have better sense than that. Who in their right mind would just take the money and go buy a house and a car and not even care whether or not their son has adequate counsel? Okay, that's not what happened. I showed you all last night the proof and receipts that Mike Howard was absolutely paid. They did spend some of the money supposedly to move. That's because they received death threats. Okay, now I spoke with someone from Frisco yesterday, like I told you all, who says they had to move and relocate. And so did several other families, had to take their kids out of Frisco ISD because of threats. Okay? So it's no wonder that many of the witnesses got up there and felt the need to lie after being coached and told what to say, as far as I'm concerned, because they had to live there. And we already know that at least one or two of the witnesses said on the stand that they were intimidated by Austin, okay, and Hunter. All right. Now, they didn't want to admit that, but they'd already said it. So when these things came back up, they had no choice. I want you to pay attention to how they want to gloss over the fact that the witnesses got up there and changed their stories. They want to sit there and say, we're grasping at straws and act as though they're too blind to see that there was an injustice, that things didn't go fairly during the trial. They want to sit there and act as though they think everything was 100% accurate. But if it were, wouldn't they have released that video footage? Of course they would have, but they didn't. And they're still hiding it. And they're doing all of this for a reason. Now, another thing I want to point out is the fact that Jeff Metcalf is so full of BS. You see, he was trying to paint a narrative from the very beginning. When he came to the press conference with Karmelo's family, he said he came there to pray with them, but he actually came there to pray upon them. Prey. You see, he's not some humble, nice Christian person. We've already heard how he really feels about Karmelo, as well as other people who look like him. Now, we heard, and I'm going to play it for you in case you missed it, when Jake Lang set up that wanton supremacist rally in Austin Metcalf's name, and then they called Jeff Metcalf on the phone, and Jeff was going in on him, saying, you can't use my son's image and likeness. I don't know you. This has nothing to do with you. You know, the reason Jeff Metcalf didn't want him doing that is not because he doesn't agree with Jake Lang's sort of thinking, with his mindset, okay, with him feeling that he's superior to people who are heavily melanated like us. But the reason, in my opinion, that Jeff Metcalf did that is because he was trying to pretend that he's not some hateful person, that he's not a whole racist. That's one reason, because he wanted people to favor him. He wanted to look like he was such the victim. Now, mind you, he was a victim, but he wanted to look like a more, the type of victim that people would embrace, that everyone would feel sorry for. Okay, that's what he wanted to do. But then the truth of who he really is has now come out. So we now know that that was all a facade. That was not the real him. Let's go to the footage where you hear the audio of what Jeff Metcalf was saying, trying to sound as though he is so against this. Another reason he didn't want Jake Lang to have Austin's name and likeness on that attached to that was because of money, in my opinion. Jeff Metcalf, he has had a GoFundMe. I don't know if it's still up, but he raised all of this money and allegedly had been bragging about going to Europe on a tour and buying a new car, a new truck. So why isn't anyone talking about that? They say that Megan was talking about buying a home with 8 bedrooms. Why aren't they talking about that? But they want to pocket watch Karmelo, and I find it interesting because he's going through an entire trial. And do they think that he didn't have to pay for his counsel, even though, quite frankly, it was inadequate and, quite frankly, worked against him? Okay, but let's go to this clip.
Would you be willing to stand by me in a press conference or in an individual interview and talk about this issue that is larger than Austin at this point? God rest the beautiful young man's soul that would have been one of our strongest voices if he was still alive today. Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, my turn to speak. You are part of the fucking problem, my friend. You're trying to create more race divide than bridging the gap. I do not condone anything you do. You do not have any fucking...
That's called white guilt.
No, let it talk.
Let me finish. I give you your time. You take my son's face off your website. I am not associated with you.
You're creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness, sir.
Right.
You are creating more Austin Metcalfs
Black
with your
man
weakness.
here, you are being weak. I gotta be honest with you about that, sir.
You're being weak.
Okay, so there you have it. Those are the people who initially made this thing about race. They did that from the get-go. And now we know that Jeff Metcalf was definitely insincere when he was acting as though he is not that type of person, because everything that he has done and said since has shown us that he's absolutely that type of person. But also, I want to point out that on last night's broadcast, there was a post that I showed you all that I said this lady had in her video. Now, I deleted that part. I edited that part out of the broadcast because I don't believe that's authentic. Okay, I don't believe that's authentic. I don't believe that Attorney Justin Moore posted that. I went and looked at his social media and I didn't see anything of the sort. Okay, where he was criticizing the family for having a press conference. That I don't think he posted that. Matter of fact, I know he didn't, because when I found his account, it didn't even have the same profile picture. Okay, but let's go to what he did actually post on his profile. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Now, this is his actual account on X, Justin A. Moore, Esquire, a freedom fighter disguised as an award-winning attorney. Okay, so here is what he actually posted. Good news for hashtag Karmelo Anthony achieving favorable result in a high-profile appeals case is possible when it has political implications and an incredible amount of noise. Hashtag Crystal Mason is a great example. We worked to get her case overturned after she was politically targeted. And there she is right there. You see, here's the thing that I know. These attorneys are high profile and they're busy out here doing the Lord's work, as far as I'm concerned. Because one thing that they do is they work on wrongful convictions. Okay, and they have a good success rate. So here's the thing. They would never, for all of the naysayers and haters who have said, oh, he's not going to get an appeal, it's going to be turned down. Oh, if it goes to trial, he's going to get more time. Let me just tell you this for clarity. Since we know that they work on wrongful conviction cases to get the innocent falsely accused and convicted out of prison, do you think that they would waste their time on a case that they felt had no merits? Do you think that they would waste their time and resources working pro bono on a case that they know they can't win, that they don't think they can possibly get an appeal, that they don't think they can get the judge to vacate the sentence or at least grant a retrial? Do you think they would waste their time doing so? Absolutely, they would not, because they know that there are many other people wrongfully convicted sitting behind prison walls. Okay, so they wouldn't waste their time. You see, so when they took this case, that let me know, should have let us all know, that there is a very good chance of this whole debacle that they called a trial and the conviction and the verdict that came later, that this all could absolutely be overturned. And if you don't believe me, let's listen to an attorney. Okay, likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, here we go.
The Karmelo Anthony trial was a tragedy all around, and I do believe that he will get a retrial. I'm a criminal defense and accident attorney in California, and I have some questions and want to go over some issues that I saw. Now, the trial was not televised, so we have to rely on court reporters who were in the courtroom reporting on the witness testimony and the evidence that was presented. I had heard some attorneys talk about how they prosecuted in a different county than where it happened. Anytime there is a crime, it has to be prosecuted in the county that it occurred. That's who has jurisdiction. But the fact that not only the Metcalfs or the deceased's father, the prosecutor, and the judge were friends and would vacation together, would holiday together. That is a complete appealable issue just by itself. So he has a good shot there if all laws are followed in the appellate court. And the sad thing in this case is that he was 17 when this happened. So California has already changed its laws where district attorneys are not allowed to just unilaterally decide to try somebody as an adult. They cannot do that now. In California, the law changed a few years ago because of all this research that showed that your prefrontal cortex doesn't even develop till at least 25 years old. So the laws changed in California where if a district attorney wants to prosecute somebody as an adult, if the incident happened when they were a minor, then they have to have a whole hearing and fight and go through a judge to have that granted. That's not the case in Texas, so they still get to decide to just try somebody as an adult if they're a minor. Now, it seems undisputed. I researched witness testimony from both the prosecution and the defense that stated that Karmelo was seated under a different team's tent because he knew a kid who was there, and that he was seated when he was confronted by the Metcalf kid, whereas some reports say that he was surrounded. Apparently, the police report stated that some witnesses said that he was surrounded by not just the Metcalf kid, but the brother and other people. Now, it doesn't seem like anybody at any point said that Karmelo stood up. So he was seated on a bench, and they said that Metcalf came to tell him to leave, and that he responded and was saying some words were exchanged, and that Metcalf then pushed him, and that there was a scuffle. And it's really interesting that there's a scuffle because nobody knows exactly what happened. Yet they're saying that Karmelo was the aggressor. They're saying he was the aggressor because of his words. And this was really interesting that I read. The DA in closing argument argued, you don't get to meet a shove with a stab, especially if you provoke a shove. How do you provoke a shove? Somebody shoving you, that's a crime. That's a battery. That is unlawful, unconsensual touching. That is a crime. Now, this is constitutionally protected. You should have a jury of your peers, and that people of a protected federal class, which is race or ethnicity, cannot be systematically dismissed as jurors. When you're an attorney on either side, you have a number of challenges where you could just say, I'm kicking them off for whatever reason. But if kicking off 3 black jurors, which is what happened in this case, you can raise what's called a Batson challenge. Batson is just the name of a case that does not allow you to just kick people off because of their race, especially if they're the race of the accused person. And this is what happened. There were only 3 black women apparently on the jury. They were all kicked. Apparently, the attorneys did make that challenge, and apparently the prosecutor gave a race-neutral reason for kicking them, that they were teachers. I don't know if that was true or not true, but the judge allowed it. That will be scrutinized for sure on an appeal. Now, the defense only called 6 witnesses, and of course, as a defense attorney, you look for your witnesses by either who your client tells you or from the police report. If you see a police report statement from a witness that is favorable for your client, you are going to interview that person before the trial. And the reporting that I read was that one of these students that was supposed to be really helpful for the defense walked back their statements, but they also had not been interviewed. That the defense attorney stated something like, we haven't talked before right now, have we? And the witness said, no. How the hell do you put somebody up without having spoken to them, without knowing what they're going to say in a murder trial? That person should have been interviewed as soon as you got hired to get their statement down and recorded with a witness and an investigator who can testify that this is what they said and get that down. You don't put a witness up on a misdemeanor trial that I don't know what they're going to say, let alone a murder trial. So that to me is, I think, a big red flag for IAC. IAC means ineffective assistance of counsel. That is also a separate basis of appeal. if the appellate court finds that they did not do their legal duty, which is like basic legal duty is you got to interview your witnesses before you put them up, before you know what they're going to say. Now, this is a self-defense case. That was the argument. And again, it's undisputed that he was seated, that he weighs 135 pounds, and that the other kid weighed 210 pounds. He's standing, he's pushing on him. Then there's a scuffle. So clearly already he's at a disadvantage weight-wise, level-wise. On self-defense cases, you put your client up because that's the person who can say, I was in fear for my life. Like, this person was not leaving me alone. And yes, I said some words to him because he's trying to kick me out for no reason, but I was afraid and I didn't think this was going to do anything. I also heard people make a big deal about the knife. Kids carry knives. This was a pocket knife. It was a fold-out knife. It was 3 inches. Kids carry knives. When I was a law clerk, I clerked at the juvenile court, and all these kids would get in trouble. Elementary school kids would get in trouble because they carried keychains with knives or with little tools that they weren't supposed to have in elementary school. And some people said that should have been addressed. Kids have pocket knives. As a defense attorney, I would have made a big deal about how all the prosecution's witnesses were friends of the Metcalf brothers. I would have inquired. Everybody's talking about it at school. Everybody's really upset about his death. They were very prominent and popular kids who people were actually afraid of. There had been reports that they were bullies. So that's something that you have to hash out when they are testifying. And it seems like they're testifying in favor of the deceased. In this case, it is really interesting that the twin brother, who supposedly was next to his brother when this happened, or near his brother when this happened, was kept out of the courtroom because he was a potential witness. He was on the witness list and he never testified. Now that's really interesting. Why didn't he testify? Was it because he did see exactly what happened and he didn't want to say, and it was going to be bad for their case? Is it because he would have perjured himself? Why did he not testify? Would have been something that I would have made a big deal about in closing. It is very clear to me, there's no intent to kill. It was one stab to get away. Most people don't believe that if you prick somebody that they're going to die. The way that Texas law is stated is that if you intend to cause great bodily injury and somebody dies, then you're on the hook for murder. But normally that's a second-degree felony in Texas if you stab somebody. And a 17-year-old kid in a scuffle is not going to know exactly where the vein is to be able to precisely kill somebody with one motion. And the other big problem I had with this case was that there's a penalty phase where the defense gets to call witnesses. And they just called his mom. That's it. This is a penalty phase. This is a kid who had, I think they said, a 3.7 or 4.0 GPA. He was captain of the track team, the football team. You don't become captain just because you're really good at the sport. You become captain because you are a leader, because the coaches see you as an example of how to behave, of how to get everybody together. I would have called coaches, cousins, aunts, uncles. You don't just call one witness. That could be also a basis for IAC. That's not even the bare minimum to do their job. There were so many more problems with the case, and an appellate attorney is always going to be different than your trial attorney, so that that appellate attorney can throw that trial attorney under the bus if needed. But an appellate attorney isn't just looking to throw the trial attorney under the bus. They're also looking to see if a ruling was not given, if a certain jury instruction that was required to be given was not given. They're looking at the judge's actions, the defense attorney's actions, and the prosecutor's actions. So they're looking at everything, witness actions, juror actions, everything gets examined. And I believe already there's some blaring problems that will get him a new trial. He did not get a fair trial. And the whole point of the justice system is to give everybody a fair trial, not just certain people or people of a certain race. The Karmelo Anthony.
Okay, so I think that about sums it all up. Okay, and that's for the naysayers. You see, these people want to sit there and try to tell us, oh, he's not going to get a new trial, because that's what they hope. They hope that he doesn't get a new trial because they just want revenge, like I said. They know that the facts and evidence don't add up. And like I told you all last night, at the end of the day, even a guilty person can absolutely walk free if they are not given a fair trial. Okay? Now, let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please. Don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance.
People are upset about Komar's takeaway on the whole Austin Metcalf situation, but he's not wrong at all. Like, I don't think anybody in their right mind is saying that Karmelo Anthony is right, and he had every reason to do that. No. When people are saying Austin Metcalf should have kept his hands to himself, it's because it's true. In a real-life situation, you never want to put your hands on somebody you don't know. And that actually saved me one time. My parents used to tell me all the time, Danny, never put your hands on somebody you don't know. And I remember in high school, I had a scheduled fade with somebody because I was not getting along well with them. That same week, that kid got caught with a gun. And ever since then, I couldn't care less. If you're not supposed to be at a place you're not supposed to be, I'm just going to get a higher authority and get them to remove you. Because I'm not going to put my hands on you. You fucking batshit crazy. If you're not putting your hands on me, I'm not going to put my hands on you. Which is why I just don't understand why a lot of people are making this so you're basically saying Karmelo Anthony had every reason to do that. No. I'm basically just saying all of this from the get-go could have been avoided if Austin Metcalf would have just walk away or just stay there and continue talking shit but not put his hands on him. But this situation ended with 2 kids essentially losing their lives, except one is not here anymore, and the other one is going to be gone for a while. Both kids are going to miss out on the chance to get themselves a house, have a kid, get married. So this whole entire situation is just unfortunate. Straight up. So a lot of people.
Yes, it is unfortunate. And the saddest thing of all about this is that Hunter Metcalf is the one who initiated the first contact. Hunter Metcalf is the one who started the whole altercation. He said it himself. We had a little altercation, and this other kid, he made a mistake. Okay? They said that Austin punched Karmelo Anthony in the face. And then he picked up the tool that Hunter and Austin had used to put up the tent, punched him in the face, someone that much bigger than you, and then they've got 3 other goons with them. Of course you would be afraid. But I'm going to do something that Mike Howard, who was the defense attorney, I'm going to do something in a minute that he didn't do. I mean, I think I've done plenty of things that he didn't do by now, and I'm not even an attorney, okay? But I absolutely think this is something he should have done. We're going to get to it after a couple of more videos. Likes up, everyone, please like and share.
Just came across this dude's video and I'm a little mind blown. He talks about the video footage, not just the real quick interaction, but before that. And it shows the Metcalfs and their friends going to the tent. But what he points out, and there may be other people who did it before him, I don't know, I'm not about that, I found it first, blah, blah, blah stuff. But this is where I seen it first, and I'm just sharing it with you guys. So he points out that Hunter is the one who runs up and confronts Karmelo first, which changes, in my opinion, everything. For one, I already thought the kid had fear in his mind, and that is why he brought the knife out to begin with. These big old dudes coming at you to move, like, why wouldn't you be in fear? And who do you know that's going to be like, okay, let me move? No, everyone's going to try to be like, nah, you can't move me, right? That's the vibe I'm getting from the whole thing. So a little bit of hard-headedness along with fear equals a knife pulled out. Okay, anyways, I'm getting off track here.
Now Hunter runs up from the back. He runs up to 3rd place. When they walk up, you'll see the 2 in front branch off, as Hunter is the one that goes up and confronts Karmelo Anthony first. Austin is in the back. Now, walking right here.
Hunter runs past all the boys that are going to the tent, and he runs up and on Karmelo and confronts him first. He also points out something that Hunter said in the beginning.
He's always on my back. Even if I'm in the wrong, he'll always take my side no matter what.
This literally lines up with how Hunter described their relationship.
This kid was sitting under our tent at track. We asked him to move. He started getting aggressive and talking reckless. And my brother stepped in and said he needs to move.
To which it ties into that last statement he just made. Austin stepped in, which means he was the aggressor. And as he describes himself, he was the hothead. He ran all the way up there. Why did he run up to the tent in the first place? A lot of people are saying that EP guy called him and told him that he was there. Is there more to the story that we don't know? Was there beef between them before? I don't know, but this is weird. And if it's all nothing, why was Hunter running so fast to get up under the tent. To which it also makes me question, why didn't they show this whole video in court? Why didn't the jury see it all? They only saw the altercation, a few minutes. They didn't show this guy for them to question what we're questioning. I thought the story they told was that Austin, the captain of the team who was told to be a leader that day, went up to him and asked him to leave. Anyways, this is Dude's page, not trying to steal his content, but I was shocked when I saw what he said.
Okay, and so you all who tuned in last night know that I showed you that video. Okay, so let's go to the next clip. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. And here's the thing. Hunter was not going to take the stand because Hunter already gave conflicting statements in the interviews. Now, what's he going to do on the stand? Change his story to fit what everyone else was coached to say? Well, then all you'd have to do is go back to those interviews where he said exactly what likely happened. And so they didn't want to risk that. And also, they didn't want Hunter to get in trouble because Hunter absolutely was the aggressor. Okay, please pay attention.
Self-defense and disparity of force. It's about how a whole community was against the kid from the start. Everybody, including the police officers, the kids, and even some of the court staff. This is Melanie Stoller. She is the former Collin County court clerk, and she was accused of giving out sensitive information about the Karmelo Anthony case to people that she knew. And she even tells Sarah Fields under her post, hey, I messaged you, check your messages. And right here, I have a message from a content creator that admits to me that she knows Melanie Stoller and that she looked up the case and leaked what judge was assigned to her, not Sarah. But you see here, she admits that she looked up the case. And it just so happens coincidentally, the lady ended up getting suspended without pay pending the investigation because she looked up the case when she, quote unquote, had no business to. And the reporter, Sarah Fields, that she allegedly gave information to also dropped their full address in a Twitter post to her 200,000 followers last year.
And that is why Karmelo's family had to move and had to spend some of the $600,000 for their attorney's fees. They had to use it to move, to relocate because of the death threats, all thanks to the nefarious, lying, no good MAGA minion, Sarah Fields. This is the same woman who had been painting lies and false narratives the entire time. This is the same woman who lied and said she saw the video, and I showed you all with receipts that she never saw that video. Okay, she was just making up lies to rage baits. But let's continue.
And I don't always call cases conspiracies, but this is definitely one big conspiracy, and this is part one of how the system was always against Karmelo Anthony.
Okay. So how dangerous was that for her to do? That's really crazy. Let's go to the next clip. And then we got to go to this guy who offered money to prisoners for Karmelo.
Friend, you just proved what I just said in this video, white woman. You said Metcalf was put in charge and asked Karmelo to leave. First of all, that's a lie. He was told by his coach the day before to be a better leader. He was not put in charge of that tent. In fact, he can't be put in charge of a tent that is owned by the school. He does not have that authority. The teacher or coach, whoever you think put Metcalf in charge, does not have that authority to put a student in charge of other students. The world doesn't work that way. See, this is what I'm talking about with the superiority shit. You really think that a 17-year-old is mature enough to be put in charge of other 17-year-olds. Then, if you listen to the testimony from the witness on the defense side, right, Karmelo was asked to come over there by his friend. And that's why he went over there. And the only people that had a problem with it was Hunter. And Austin really didn't even have a problem with it. He went and was taken up for his fucking brother. And that's why he is where he is right now because he decided to take it upon himself to put his hands on another child that wasn't his responsibility. See, you proved the superiority complex that I was just talking about. You just proved it. This is the mindset of white people. And when I say white people, please, if the shoe don't fit, don't wear it. I'm talking about women like this motherfucker right here that thought that Metcalf was in charge of a tent that belonged to the school and he was in charge of other students. Come on, man. Look out, friend. You just proved what I just said in this video, white woman.
Okay, let's go to this last clip. And then before I conclude the broadcast, I'm going to give you all some very pertinent information.
I'm going to show you how dangerous these white tees can really be. Effortlessly, too. I'm going to show you how easy it is for them to just wake up and just be dangerous. Just wake up and get in front of a camera and be extremely dangerous. So I stumbled upon this video that is making rounds. Let me see what you guys think of it.
What about you guys? But the first person that I hear about that attacks Karmelo Anthony in prison, I will be putting money on their books.
And they'll be putting out a warrant for your arrest. And then shortly after that, you'll be put behind bars. You arrive jail, well, guess what? The inmates are going to put you in a fucking headlock. You lose consciousness, they're going to put you on the ground and put their fucking feet in your fucking chest. It's definitely a hit. Is this not a hit? Am I tripping? Am I tripping, y'all? Like, I know this is a hit. It sounds like a hit, right? And I hope that's TikTok friendly. Because we have to spread fucking awareness. You got to get this motherfucker off the fucking street. This guy is spreading hits on TikTok. That shit is ghetto and tacky anyway. Like on TikTok, my nigga, that's like some hood shit. And those are the things that make him 10 times more dangerous. Get him out of here. See, we're dealing with a unique type of person, right? He is racist and he has hood mentality. But the real issue is, why the fuck are you so goddamn angry? Why are you so mad? Because you're doing this for strangers. You don't know Austin, bro. You don't know Austin. You're doing this for strangers. FBI, law enforcement, please come get this guy quick in a hurry. Please, quick in a hurry. He's putting TikTok hits out for strangers. For fucking strangers. Y'all really lost your mind, bro. You guys are just out in the open like voila. So if there's some black law enforcement, black FBI agents, please take this dude. Please get him out of here. I feel like this video would be pointless if I didn't do this part, right? That's his username right there, okay? I know it's blurry. I tried to make it bigger. So I want to make sure if somebody is watching this that can do something about it, please do something about it, right? We are talking about somebody putting hits out on TikTok. So let's make sure this weirdo gets put behind bars, put on trial, put in a headlock. So I'll leave you with that. Love, peace, happiness, and black joy. That's so.
Okay, but they said we're the ones making it about race. Please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, let me just say this. So we know that Karmelo Anthony has epilepsy. We know that he has epilepsy. We know that the judge said that could not be used because it was not relevant. They didn't need to bring that up, but they did need to bring that up. And here's why. Because the thing is, a person who has epilepsy could be triggered by a myriad of things. Okay, a blow to the head during a fight can cause traumatic brain injury. Hold on, let me just share this on the screen. Like stuff, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance, beloveds. Now, I wonder why Mike Howard didn't do this. I think we all can figure it out why. Okay, so I typed in, now I already knew this, but this is for you all's benefit. Can a physical confrontation cause an epileptic seizure? Yes, a physical confrontation can cause an epileptic seizure. This can happen in 3 distinct ways. First of all, physical head trauma. A direct blow to the head during a fight can cause a traumatic brain injury. Okay, even a mild or moderate concussion can disrupt normal brain cell function and lead to either an immediate seizure or the development of post-traumatic epilepsy later on. Severe acute stress. Emotional and acute physical stress are well-known triggers for individuals who already have epilepsy. The intense surge of adrenaline, fear, or anger during a confrontation can significantly lower the brain's seizure threshold. Okay, psychogenic non-epileptic seizures. High stress and traumatic events such as physical assault or abuse are common root triggers. Now, these are seizure-like episodes that resemble epileptic seizures, but are psychological in origin rather than by abnormal electrical activity in the brain. Okay, so I want you to pay attention. That was very pertinent. So when the judge said that that was not to be allowed in, the defense should have argued. Okay, and here's why. Because a serious health issue can absolutely be allowed as evidence in a self-defense case. However, it must be legally relevant and verified by medical documentation to establish why you reasonably feared for your life or were unable to retreat safely. The court determines the admissibility of this evidence based on the following factors. Number one, the subjective standard. Self-defense first requires proof that you genuinely believe you were in imminent danger. A physical disability, severe illness, or compromised state, such as being in a wheelchair, recovering from surgery, certain things like that. Let's also not forget that Karmelo had injured his arm and shoulder as well as the epilepsy. Okay, those things can explain why you perceived a threat as deadly or why you could not safely escape. He couldn't safely escape because he was surrounded. Now, the next thing is the objective standard. Your actions must also be what a reasonable person, that's someone with common sense, unlike the MAGA minions, okay, a reasonable person would do in the same condition. If your health issue made you more vulnerable, your attorney can use it so the injury evaluates the proportionality of your defense force with your physical limitations in mind. That means this could prove that you don't have to go and do the same amount of force, use the same amount of force that was used against you. Documentary and expert evidence. This is the next thing. Health issues cannot just be claimed, they must be proven. Now, you will need authenticated hospital or physician records and potentially expert witness testimony. Didn't I tell you all that man should have absolutely had expert witnesses? Okay, to establish the severity of the medical condition and its direct impact on your perception of the threat. The last thing is prior aggressor context. On the flip side, the prosecution may attempt to introduce the victim's or aggressor's medical conditions, such as severe intoxication or known combativeness, if those conditions contributed to a pattern of violent behavior or escalated the confrontation. Okay, please pay attention. Now, here's the next thing. If the judge, this is the next thing I asked, if the judge says it's irrelevant, should the defense in fact challenge it? Yes, the defense should almost always formally challenge a judge's ruling that evidence is irrelevant to preserve the defendant's constitutional right to a fair trial and to protect their options for a future appeal. Now, let me just stop right there and say this. You see, I believe that I told you all last night or at some point this week, I believe that I said that the reason, in my opinion, that Mike Howard didn't raise any objections about certain things and didn't introduce certain evidence that should have been and didn't bring forth any experts was not only to just throw the trial, but to purposely try to ruin Karmelo's chances for an appeal. You see, because anytime a defense attorney raises objections, all of these things are now put on the court record. So when the review is done by the appellate courts, they will look at the things that the defense attorney singled out as problematic. This helps with the appeals process. So all of this was done by Mike Howard on purpose. Okay, you're not the best defense attorney in Dallas for 10 years in a row, and you don't know these simple things. And you don't know to look up these things and to enter this in and to challenge the judge and all of the things that I have done. Okay, now, of course, I have a criminal justice degree, but at the end of the day, I'm no attorney. And he has decades, at least 2 of experience. Now, it then goes on to say, file an immediate objection, preserve the record. The defense must object on the record immediately after the ruling. You see, that's for the appeals process. Now, if they do not object during the trial, higher courts will usually refuse to review the issue on appeal. Do y'all see what he did? Do you all see what he did? Now, state constitutional grounds. Lawyers will argue that excluding the evidence violates the defendant's Sixth Amendment right to present a complete defense. This whole trial was kangaroo court. It was all a sham. Now, the next thing, make an offer of proof. Describe the evidence. The defense attorney asked to make an offer of proof. It's sometimes called a proffer, okay? Outside of the presence of the jury, they do this. The next is to explain the relevance. The lawyer should detail exactly what the medical evidence is, what the expert witness would say, and precisely how it connects to the defendant's fear of imminent harm. And then next, create an appellate record. You see, that's what I told you. All of this is for the record. So when you go to file the appeal, they look at all of these things and review it. The appellate court is not there to retry the case, to have in new witnesses. They're simply there to review everything that happened during the trial, to see what things were problematic, if the lawyer did his due diligence, if there was any prosecutorial misconduct, if the judge, in fact, acted with bias, if the jury was given the proper instructions, okay, for the charges, and all of those things. But let me continue. So create an appellate record. This ensures the court transcripts contain the exact evidence the judge blocked, allowing an appeals court to see exactly what the jury missed. File a motion. This is the next thing. File a motion for reconsideration. Present new case law. If the judge rules prematurely, the defense can submit a written motion citing specific legal precedents where physical invulnerability was deemed highly relevant to self-defense. Next, highlight core legal issues. The motion argues that a jury cannot properly judge a reasonable person or what a reasonable person would do without knowing the person's actual physical capabilities. It was imperative for them to know that Karmelo Anthony had not only an injured arm and shoulder that he was getting physical therapy for, but also that he had epilepsy. Now, with that being said, the next thing is prepare for a post-trial appeal. Abuse of discretion. If the defendant is convicted, this blocked evidence becomes a primary ground for an appeal. Are y'all hearing that? So, argue prejudice. Argue prejudice. The defense will attempt to prove to the appellate court that the judge's exclusion of the health issue was a prejudicial error that directly affected the outcome of the trial. I just want to tell you all, Karmelo Anthony is coming home. Now, it may take a year to 2, but I promise you, this young man is coming home. You see, because you don't win when you play dirty. But let me continue. Now, further exploration. Okay, read about how evidentiary objections work during criminal proceedings. Okay, so at the end of the day, it was telling me to do that. I'm sorry, I didn't need to read that part. But here's the thing. So you mean to tell me that his attorney didn't have the wherewithal to know those things? He didn't have the ability to understand that this was all paramount to the case? Of course he did. Okay, so there are so many things that he did not do. So many things that he did not do. Now, Mabel says, you attack me, I'm going to use anything I can to get you off me. It wasn't even Karmelo's knife. He picked it up because it was available for him to defend himself. Exactly. This is what Hunter said in the beginning, before the ambulance even left the track. He and his 2 friends, they told Fox News, Dallas, okay, they told them, now this is what they say. People have said, I didn't hear this, so let me say allegedly, But people said that they remember the report. People from Frisco and Dallas all said they remember the report, and Hunter saying that after Austin punched Karmelo in the face, he picked up the tool that Austin and Hunter used, that we had used to put up the tent. So he didn't bring a knife to the track meet. How do we know that's a lie? Well, if we have common sense, we know it's a lie because Hunter said that Austin grabbed his backpack. First, they said that witnesses said that Austin told him, "You ain't got nothing in that bag." And then that's probably when he grabbed it and threw it. But they also don't want to talk about how Austin said, "I'm going to beat your bitch ass." So they want to say that Karmelo was the aggressor, that he was the provocateur because he said, "Touch me and find out," after someone threatens to beat your bitch ass. Sorry, but this case was a whole sham, and it's going to get overturned. And if you're mad now, MAGA minions, you're really going to be mad then. Okay? So with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast, but I absolutely intend to be back later on this evening. D Major says, "I feel smarter after listening to you. Thank you." Well, thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Okay, I absolutely do. And thank you for your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, that's right. Love Chrissy said he was giving a warning. All right, so with that all being said, everyone please like and share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Remember, beloveds, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember to keep the Most High first in your lives. Until next time, peace.
With that gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got